Hey everyone, it's Marilynn Hughes from the Out of Body Travel Foundation. We have a special guest for you today. Her name is Eva Muller, and she runs nextelevations.com. And I'm going to let her explain it to you a little bit more than me, but basically, she has some very special gifts. She's a fellow mystic. She's gone through some really neat mystical experiences and energetic things that have made her into a healer. And so Next Elevations is a platform that offers a range of spiritual and consciousness enhancing tools, focusing on energy transmissions designed to help individuals reach their highest truth and highest potential. And all of you who are listening know that that's what we're all about as well. And so there's a lot of things at her website, which is nextelevations.com, through a combination of energy work, spiritual coaching, and community support, where people are allowed to do that. And Eva, welcome.
Hi, Marilyn. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here today. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And, Eva is all the way from Austria. So that's really neat. One of the great things I love about technology is how we can meet people from all over the world. And so, Eva, you are transmitting spiritual energies. I'd like to ask, what kinds of transmissions are they, and how do these transmissions occur, and what impact do they have on your clients?
Okay. Yeah, very great question. So I work with all sorts of different energies, but mostly high vibrational divine energies. This is how I call them. And they are creational energies. So they come from creation. And I also work with energies that come from beyond creation and they help people to reach the absolute. So that's what's beyond creation. So everything that exists. Um, and yeah, so to come back to the energies of creation, so because you mentioned next elevations, um, it pulls people towards their personal highest truth. So all energies that are within creation are coming in for those people. So people are connected then 24/7. You can connect basically on the platform to the energy transmission 24/7. And it doesn't need me. You can directly do it through the website. The energies are coming in, they're there all the time, and you get in the present moment. So every moment is a fresh present moment, exactly what you need. There are so many energies, and every person is very different, right? So every person comes in here into this life experience, incarnates with a different blueprint, with a different life plan, different learnings, different karma. So everybody's very unique and everybody's receiving exactly what they need for their spiritual growth and transformation. So mostly it's about healing and clearing the system and expanding the system. What I mean with that is, we have a lot of low vibrational energies in the system from like this life experience, a lot of, let's say anger, fear, a lot of fear is in the system, anxiety, shame, and like all sorts of these low vibrational energies. Then also they come in from past lives, or we experienced an ancestor, so there are quite a few influences. Then there is also the collective, so there's kind of a lot in our systems. And the transmission is helping to clear these energies so that they can just go and can become lighter and more high vibrational.
So
Um,
in a lot of respects, for those who are familiar with my work, this sounds familiar to them because,
mm,
we utilize out-of-body travel for the purification journey,
mhm.
and so this is very similar. It's just kind of like another way to go around and make it happen. And so this is very interesting to me. This is makes a lot of sense from the, thousands of experiences that I've had in out-of-body travel, which is my modality, and to bring your modality into it, which brings me to the next question, which is what I'm very interested in hearing about. I was told that you had this amazing experience when you shifted into Brahman consciousness. And I'd love it if you would unfold that for us and share that with my listeners. They would really love to hear about
Yeah,
that.
okay. Yeah, great. Absolutely. So Brahman, I mentioned before, there is creation and there is outside of creation, right?
Right.
And Brahman is outside of creation. And when I had this experience, it came along in I also share how it basically happened, that shift. Um, It came along on a spiritual retreat where I had a very beautiful experience with the Divine Mother. So that energy came into my system. I felt her
Yes.
basically being in my body. So it was one of the most
Beautiful.
beautiful experiences I had because there was so much love and bliss present, right? Like this beautiful
Right.
divine love. So it was so beautiful. And, you know, this strength of the feminine, like this divine strength of the feminine was absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, so that experience was there, and I thought, okay, how can I have this all the time? You know, since I was experiencing this at the
How
retreat,
can
I
you
want
bring
more
it
of it.
from beyond
Exactly.
heaven into your earthly physical vessel? Yes.
Exactly, because you know I had this
Talk about
experience,
that
so
a lot.
there had to be I had to there has to be a way to bring this in for good, you know.
Right.
And then basically I just asked, and I got the answer. I have to get rid of human love, so basically of condition, you know, that
Conditioned
the
love.
yeah,
You need to
exactly.
reach into the unconditional category
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was shown about a course of 2 weeks where I personally, I mean, it's my personal experience, where I've had conditional love within my belief system, in my system. And I just
Yes.
gave it to the Divine
Yes.
Mother. Yeah. And then after 2 weeks,
I'm
everything
feeling
was
your
gone.
experience as you're telling it. Why I'm
Okay.
feeling it.
All
Yes.
right. Nice. Yeah, and then, you know, all the love was gone, but everything else was gone as well. Because in Brahman, everything is gone. So the whole human experience is gone in Brahman. Like it doesn't exist anymore. So there is
Become
no
blank.
emotions.
You're
Yeah, it's like
completely at
blank.
peace, just peace.
Yes, yes, you could say you're completely at peace because there is nothing there.
Nothing there.
Yeah,
Empty. Empty.
absolutely emptiness. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are no emotions, but there is also no love, you know, because there is no low vibrational emotions as I call them, so no fear, anxiety, on all of these emotions, irritation, no worries, but there is also no love, there is no bliss, there is nothing, there is no joy. It's absolutely empty. It's like a, you know, you feel the same way all the time. Like zzz, all the time, same line of feeling. Like there's no high or lows anymore.
So is
Uh,
there, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, and then basically, because you know, because a lot of people probably don't really know what it means to look into creation. It's really like when you're in this place, you look into creation from outside of creation, although you
Right.
move through your everyday life experience. But it's like everything you look at starts to manifest in front of your eyes just because you look at it. So you're creating it. So you look from the outside into creation, and when you look at it, it's being created. It doesn't matter what it is, people, buildings, trees, it
Right.
doesn't nature, whatever. And then when you look away, it collapses. It's
Right.
gone. It doesn't exist. And this is very interesting, especially with loved ones and friends, family. It's like when you look at them, they're there, and you have like you see them. But then when
Right.
you look away, it's like they don't exist, even though they're like your partner or your mother, or you know, like they're just not there. Yeah, and
I
then a
can
lot
just
more.
interject there. The way that you're describing that is really close to, ironically, what some of quantum physicists have shared with me about what they've discovered about particles and how they, if you look away, they no longer exist. And so there's some interesting, quantum science that actually is in conjunction with the mystical experience, and particularly the one you're describing right now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And how I was shown that, but this was another experience is really we have like a little consciousness bubble. Everybody has their own little consciousness bubble. So everything we experience on the outside is basically a creation of our own consciousness. So this is why everybody's
Right,
life experience is very unique. And it's also only there in the present moment. So it
right.
changes every present moment. Every moment it's changing, it's changing, it's changing. And we are creating it, of course not always consciously because we, you know, that's not possible, but like our consciousness is creating it. Yeah, so absolutely. And I think physicists are looking into that, yeah, or they have discovered
Yes, and
that
they,
already,
yeah,
yeah.
they've discovered that about particles and matter and things like that. I won't dare try to explain it because I'll say it
Yeah.
wrong because I'm not a scientist, but I've heard the very same things. And so
Mm.
that's a very exciting experience. One thing um, I'm curious about is did you have any experiences that brought the love back to you, the higher love, like from that divine mother, the higher love, the higher bliss, or did it stay where it was more of the empty, the calm? It was it did it stay that way, or did you have more of a balancing out that occurred later?
Yeah. So I stayed in that place for about 3 months.
Okay.
And then I realized because I started to withdraw from life more because there is no interest in life anymore. Like
Yes.
just it just drops away. Also interest in people, in conversations, in participating in life.
Very common
Um,
response
and
for
then
spiritual
yeah,
teachers.
and then I realized, I'm not used for anybody anymore. I want to come back. And that actually then happened. So I just used my intention, and then slowly the humanness started to come back in. So it took a few months, until it was coming back as it is right now. But like more quality started to come back in. So emotions like joy, or it's more information now. So it's not so much emotions anymore. It's more energy with information. So that's the difference. And it's the same with the unconditional love. So not the human love is back, but the
But
unconditional love.
the higher love.
Yeah, and it's basically that it like if you talk about human love and unconditional love is very different because unconditional love, everybody just feels you have an unconditional love for everybody in this reality and for everything. So it doesn't really matter what people are doing, how they're living their lives, what choices they make. Like it all doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's just about that they are here in this reality, and for that reason, there is this love there already. So, and it stays exactly the same for everybody. And it's also for family members, the same as for strangers on the street. So this has definitely changed, and this is a different quality of love, and it's always the same. Yeah,
So
in my
how long ago
experience.
did this start happening for you?
And the Brahman experience happened about probably 3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. And when did you start having experiences? Was it like when you were a child? Was it later in your 20s? Or, when did it start for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very funny because I've been asked this question quite a bit, and I say, no, I haven't had any spiritual experiences until I started meditating, and this was about 6 years ago. Um, but I actually did because I was thinking about it, but small ones. But you know what the funny thing is, it all felt so normal and natural for me that it didn't feel spiritual or, any special. And it still doesn't. Everything I do feels so normal and natural to me. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel any special or
But
anything.
on hindsight, you can see that there were spiritual intersections that were leading you to this.
I mean, for example, when I was laying in bed at night as a child or teenager, and I didn't feel great, I asked for my guiding angel guiding angel. What is the English word for that? Sorry,
Guardian angel?
guardian angel to come in and protect me. And always how I felt it is very funny. I felt it as a vibration on my hair. And the
Okay.
vibration came into my eyes, and it's like there was a butterfly then in my ear, sorry, in my ear. And so that was very interesting because I always felt then I was protected and looked after, and this was just the connection. So I could actually feel it physical, just an example. And I was always just very open for angels and for like, I went to healers to receive healing. I couldn't do it at the time, but this was always the way to go. Like I always went to healers and not like psychologists, for example, when I felt there was an obstacle I couldn't overcome on that level, on the emotional level. So I was always very open for that, but really spiritual experiences came in when I started meditating, and then I had loads of them.
Okay, and so
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment to our listeners because I'm always telling people how important this is, the meditation, and many people blow that off because it's prayer, meditation, and spiritual reading. And one of the things I always tell all of you is make long blocks for the meditation, sometimes up to 3 hours, because it can take a long period of time for your consciousness to drop into the lower areas of consciousness where the vibrational states can start happening. And in Eva's case, it was maybe a little bit of a different experience that started happening. But again, it happened when she started to meditate. So take note of that as you're listening here, how important the meditation is in this three-prong practice that we try to do. And
Yeah,
so
I also can I share something with that? I mean, you said 3 hours. I work with energy transmissions, and I can bring you in a deep meditative state within 10 minutes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So this is what the transmissions are doing. So there is no effort on your end except for sitting and surrendering to the transmission, to the light, because my journey with meditation also started from basically day one, when I basically seriously started meditating with transmissions. So from the beginning on, always with an energy transmission, and they just help you so much. And the whole journey takes a lot, like it's a lot
Lot.
shorter. You're a
It's
lot
smart.
faster.
Okay.
Like it's such a sped up process, and you can meditate in a very deep state within a few minutes with these energy transmissions. Especially when you have done a little bit of meditation before, when you have some practice, it's so easy and simple because the energies just pull you into these deep states. And so in samadhi, you just hang out there, and that's it. It's very effortless.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and I also
so
yeah, sorry. Mhm.
I was going to ask, so in your experiences, what you experience is primarily the transmissions that come through you, these energy transmissions. Is that primarily what your modality is? And you do that with healing primarily?
Yes, I mean healing. I'm not healing like my healing is not about like healing the physical. It's
The
really about,
spiritual.
yes, spiritual healing. Exactly.
And
Yeah, it's through transmissions.
when did you realize, was there a moment, was there an experience that you had when you realized that this gift was given to you to help others to heal spiritually?
Yeah, I mean, when I had this Brahman experience for the 3 months, I started to transmit this state to other people. So you can also transmit the state. This is basically what I started with.
Okay.
And then because I was
That's
sitting
very
with
cool.
people, yeah, and then
That's really neat. Okay.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then when I was sitting with people, energy started to come in. And I had no concept or no understanding of it at all. And just by sitting with people, they started to come in, and every session was a bit different. Different energies were coming in, and like a whole concept for myself personally that I can use,
Yeah.
framework started to form. And this has changed over time as well. But basically, the energies were showing me what to do, how to do it, and I get information from the energy. So it was just, there was like not really a moment that I could do everything. It was more like, okay, just sit with people. This was the impulse and see what happens. And I learned by doing. It was
Okay.
a
And
learning
there's
by doing
a
process.
couple things I really want to ask you about this because it's really really correlates with the whole path of purification that we always talk about here. That's in relation to my books and my writings. And so, so the concept of the healing of the human system, why it's essential for spiritual awakening, but also you often speak of connecting to your highest truth. And how does someone begin to realize what that truth is for them personally within your modality? Because this is ironically a big part of what we call the path of purification.
Mhm.
I'd love to hear about that from you and what you've
Yeah,
experienced.
absolutely. I mean, it's basically a path of purification. It's
Just a
exactly the
different way
same.
of, yeah, it's a different way of
Exactly.
putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. So the highest truth is the best possible timeline when our system is healed and cleared, or more healed and cleared. It's always a process, and
Yes.
open, so that life itself, this is the energy that flows through our system,
The
can
energy
just
of
flow
life.
freely.
Yes.
Exactly. So the energy flows freely and moves us through life experience. So it's not us, the individual, against life, but it's more like
Right.
life is flowing through us and we just move along. So there is full surrender to life. We
Yes.
follow our impulses, we follow the intuition and all of that, but how life is unfolding, we just accept in the present moment, like we just surrender to that.
And in that energetic process, you're able to help people to shed like perhaps like inferior karmic outcomes and make room for this higher outcome for their lives. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, so the highest truth is basically when you're most aligned with your life, or
Okay.
the best possible timeline. So
The
it
best
doesn't really matter
possible
how you
timeline
describe
for
it.
your life, your
So that
highest
means
purpose.
you just move through life, and exactly what needs to come in the present moment can come in. It's not blocked. You can also
Okay.
see it. So you don't have any any energies in the system that are blocking it, or like you can't accept it, or you're not good enough to accept it, or whatever. There are all sorts of different energy patterns. So it comes to you because there is no blockage, and you can also see it and act on it or whatever is needed because there is no blockage.
Well, and
So
that's something I'd like to hit on because you mention a lot about common energetic blockages people face. And that's something that I talk a lot about. And I have my own, little lists of common blockages. But I would love to hear what yours are because you might have some that I haven't covered. And so we might have some extra things to add. So, what are common energetic blockages that people face? And what do you do to help them to clear them
mhm.
that lead them to this highest spiritual outcome?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about the story or what happened to people, it's about the energies
Yes,
beyond.
I
And
love
those
that.
ones
That is
are the common
absolutely the
ones.
truth.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they're on that level, we're all the same.
Yes.
Right? So we have the same system. So there is emotions, there are thoughts, there we have the energy body, we have the physical body. There are ancestors, influences from ancestors and
Yes,
from past lives. So this is
absolutely.
how I see it. And basically, I just clear if possible. So there are layers. So my work is really, I want to help people to move through all the layers, so through all the onion, we get rid of all the
Yes, the
onion
onion.
rings.
Yes.
But I clear on the levels of emotions. So this
Okay.
is what I do. Yeah, this is where I
Okay.
see it. So where do you see the clearing happening, or where is it happening in your
Oh,
work?
it'll happen on, because people who read my books are often looking for out of body travel. So there are
Mm.
going to be all kinds of blocks, whether it's they're uncomfortable with the powerful nature of the vibrational experience, they're afraid to see ghosts, they are afraid of what they might be shown about themselves that's going to, it's either going to be hard to see or look at, or it's going to contradict their previous version of truth. There's a whole list of them that, my readers are real familiar with and stuff. But what you're talking about, I absolutely resonate with, is that there's the emotional, energetic things that are hanging around people that come from those past lives. And absolutely, I wrote about the ancestors in particular because the ancestors are always around in either helping and sometimes hindering, depending on the circumstance. And so, yes, all these things can be a hindrance or a help, depending on what they are. And so that's very interesting that you're able to help people to move those emotional or other energetic blocks out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's for example fear, and then it doesn't really matter how people are experiencing the fear. So it's the fear of, moving out of the body, of seeing different beings, of I don't know, exploring different dimensions.
Right,
So it's about the fear. So it's
right,
about removing the fear.
right,
And also I don't really like it's not about what kind of ancestral influences there are. It's really when I have fear in my system, for example, from dying,
right.
ancestors, for example, this is a
Mhm.
core fear, right? Survival. Then this is coming in, for example, and then it makes our fear even stronger. And this is why I just cut the connection, for example, to the ancestors of just that energetic pattern, that it's not like enhancing our energetic pattern within our system. So it's
Yes,
all really not so much about the story, although when I work on people, there is also content. So I share, of course, a little bit of story so that people know what I'm doing. So I share
yes,
about, a bit more specific, but it's really about the emotions that are underlaying the experience. Why am I fearful of this or that, or why am I angry, and so forth. So it's really that, yeah, what I'm looking into. Yeah, but interesting to hear your point of view or your experience. Yeah, thanks for
yeah,
sharing.
there's more, but it's hard to kind of pull it up on. But a lot of people are uncomfortable with that confronting what they previously knew to be true, and there's a whole slew of things that come underneath that. Fear of death is one of them. Fear of getting lost in the realms. People have that fear. Fear of seeing a ghost. Ironically, one of the things that is not necessarily a conscious fear, but the moment that people do actually project out. You may have experienced this early on when you get confronted with the powerful nature of the energy, you get so excited or you get so scared that you immediately get pulled back because
Mm,
you're either too excited or you're afraid of it. You know, it's too powerful, or it's, wow, that's so powerful, that's so cool. And you're like, you know what I mean? So all these lots of things, you know. And
absolutely.
so yeah, there are a lot of things that people do have there. And so
Yeah, and I can also share how I help people with that is so I always bring them in a space of high vibrational divine light. So they're held like in this little cocoon.
yes,
And within this high vibrational cocoon, I clear their system so that they don't have to experience or go through any of the emotions, or anything like that. They just hear me sharing what I'm clearing, and afterwards they feel lighter, but they never meet, like they have never really faced these emotions or these experiences anymore. Um, what they are, it's stuck energies from the past in the system as I see them. So there was an experience in the past, it could be a very horrible one or just just some sort of horrible experience in the past, that brought up, for example, fear. It could be like seeing a dog, or
yeah.
got bitten by a dog, or I don't know, just having an experience with another person, whatever. Like it doesn't really matter how the experience came in. The emotion stuck because it couldn't pass through the system fully, because we start losing the ability to allow emotions pass through when we're quite young, around the age of 3, what I'm mostly getting. So then from that moment on, the energies start getting stuck in our system. And these energies, they come forward in our adult's life, even though
Right.
they're from the past, but they're not really in the past. They're within our system in the present moment, anyways, but they just stuck from that experience. So it's about healing and clearing them. And then you become lighter.
That's
There is
right.
more space and the vibration rises. Yeah,
That's right. Yes. And it's interesting because when you're talking, well, first of all, it reminds me of a lot of the experiences that I also wrote about, and a lot of our readers will remember, is that when you're going into the higher spheres, the heavens, you're lighter. And when you're going into the lower realms, it's you're heavier. So the way you're going into the higher realms is you have to shed a lot of these weights, you know. But as you're
absolutely.
speaking, you're reminding me of, I don't know if you ever heard of Francisco Candido Javier. He was a
I haven't.
mystic. Okay, yeah, he was a mystic who, from like 1902 to 2002 or somewhere thereabouts, maybe 1911, but he passed away in 2002, and he wrote a lot of books in Brazil. And he wrote a series that starts with a book called Nosso Lar, which translates to the Astral City. And they did a film on it. Um, and it's basically the story of a man in the afterlife, and he was very gifted in this ability to, I would say he received these transmissions from the spirit who had died about what he was experiencing in the afterlife. And as you're telling me this story, I'm thinking, well, how interesting, because a lot of what you're describing reminds me of some of the roles of some of the people in the afterlife when they would help souls after they died. It was like nurses with quotation marks around their name who would help the souls who were carrying lots of weight and stuff, and they would work on them energetically. And to me, what you represent is like something like that who has become incarnate. And that's a really cool gift to have. So I'm very grateful that you came on today, Eva Muller. And her website is nextelevations.com. And from Austria, very much an honor. So nice to meet you. And this has been a great conversation. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I really enjoyed the conversation and it was lovely to meet you. So thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
You as well.